Unbelievable upset. Jaguars shattered Chiefs' hopes with thrilling 31-28 victory. It was a night that began like any other at Arrowhead Stadium, but ended like none before it. The Kansas City Chiefs, defending champions, titans of modern football, stood ready to dismantle yet another underdog. Across the field, the Jacksonville Jaguars, those perennial outsiders, carried something that couldn't be measured in rankings or reputation. They carried belief. No one expected them to win. Not the analysts, not the betting markets, not even half their fans watching nervously from Florida bars. But by the end of 4 quarters, in a crescendo of chaos, grit, and destiny, belief would become reality. The scoreboard would read 31-28, and the Jaguars would leave Kansas City with more than a victory. They would leave with respect. The build-up, the week leading up to the matchup, was drenched in doubt. Sports media called it a mismatch. The Chiefs, led by the ever-majestic Patrick Mahomes, were on a 5-game winning streak. Their offense was lethal, their defense suffocating. The Jaguars, they had lost 2 of their last 3. Their quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, was battling a nagging shoulder injury. Their top wideout, Calvin Ridley, had been under fire for inconsistent performances. Even Jacksonville's coach, Doug Peterson, a former Chief himself, admitted in a press conference, "We're not here to prove anyone wrong. We're here to prove ourselves right." But those words carried a weight deeper than anyone realized, because in the Jaguars' locker room, belief wasn't a slogan. It was survival. The kickoff, the stadium lights burned gold. The crowd, painted in red and white, roared like a storm. Mahomes took the field first, calm as ever, that confident half-smile, that magician's poise. He orchestrated the opening drive flawlessly. A 12-play masterpiece ending in a dart to Travis Kelce for a 14-yard touchdown. 7-0 Chiefs. The script was writing itself. But on the Jacksonville sideline, Trevor Lawrence simply nodded. He turned to his offensive line, smacked his helmet twice, and said, "Let's punch back. Right now." And they did. On the very next drive, Lawrence connected with Christian Kirk on a deep post for 43 yards. Then Travis Etienne Jr. bulldozed through the line for a 12-yard score. 7-7. The silence that followed in Arrowhead wasn't fear. Not yet. But it was the first crack in certainty. The middle war. The second quarter was a chess match. Mahomes found Marquez Valdez-Scantling for a 50-yard bomb, followed by another touchdown toss to Kelce. 14-7 Chiefs. But the Jaguars refused to fade. Lawrence responded with composure beyond his years. Rolling out under pressure, he found Evan Engram on a broken play, threading the needle between 2 defenders. That drive ended with a Ridley toe tap catch in the corner of the end zone. 14-14. By halftime, the Chiefs were visibly frustrated. Their offense was humming, but their defense, usually precise, couldn't contain Jacksonville's unpredictable rhythm. And on the Jaguars sideline, something began to bloom, belief turning into conviction. Peterson's halftime words were simple. "They think we're lucky. Let's show them we're inevitable." The third quarter firestorm. Momentum is a fickle creature. And that night, it began to roar in teal and black. On Kansas City's opening drive, Mahomes made a rare mistake, a throw across his body into traffic. The ball deflected off a lineman's helmet and landed in the hands of Rayshon Jenkins. Interception. Jaguars ball. The stadium gasped. Lawrence, smelling opportunity, went for the jugular. On second down, he aired a perfect spiral to Zay Jones, who caught it mid-flight and danced into the end zone. 21-14 Jaguars. The sideline erupted. Helmets clashed. Fists pumped. Jacksonville, the team everyone dismissed, was winning. But champions don't crumble easily. Mahomes stormed back, orchestrating a brilliant drive capped by a Jerick McKinnon touchdown run. 21-21. 2 heavyweights, trading haymakers. No more talk of underdogs. Only warriors now. The turning point. Late in the third, the Jaguars faced 3rd and 11 from their own 24. The crowd's roar was deafening. 75,000 voices raining down like thunder. Lawrence took the snap, dodged a blitzing linebacker, and threw across the middle. Incomplete. or so it seemed. A yellow flag fluttered. Defensive pass interference. The drive lived on. 3 plays later, Etienne broke loose for 37 yards, dragging 2 defenders before diving into the red zone. On the next snap, Lawrence executed a flawless play-action fake and hit Ingram on a slant. Touchdown, 28-21 Jaguars. Arrowhead fell silent. You could feel the disbelief thick, heavy, almost audible. The fourth quarter. When the final quarter began, the tension was suffocating. Mahomes, ever the comeback king, led a furious drive. Precision passes, clutch scrambles, no wasted motion. He connected again with Kelsey to tie it up at 28-28. The crowd roared back to life. Then came the drive that would define Jacksonville's season. With 5 minutes left, starting from their own 25, the Jaguars began their march. Etienne ran with fury, his legs churning like pistons. Kirk caught passes in tight windows. And Lawrence, laser-focused, moved like a conductor guiding an orchestra through chaos. At 2:01 left, they stood at the Chiefs' 38-yard line. Too far for comfort, too close to quit. Peterson made the call. Arpo. Lawrence keeps it if it's there. The ball was snapped. The Chiefs' line collapsed inward. Lawrence saw daylight and took it. He sprinted up the middle, spun past the tackle, and dove forward for 15 yards. First down. Arrowhead gassed again. With 0:38 left, Jacksonville faced 3RD and 7 at the Chiefs' 20. Peterson played it safe. 1 month later. For weeks later, Jacksonville clinched a playoff berth for the first time since their 2022 miracle run. And in the pre-game tunnel of their final regular season match, Peterson gathered the team and said, "Remember that night in Kansas City? That wasn't luck. That was the moment we found out who we are." The players responded in unison. Duval. The echoes rolled to the tunnel. A battle cry reborn. Legacy of a game. Years later, sports documentaries would revisit the 31-28 game as the turning point of the Jaguars' modern era. The night they stopped being a punchline and became a promise. Commentators would call it the roar that woke the jungle. And Trevor Lawrence, older and wiser, would look back and say, that one didn't just change a season. It changed belief. In football and ourselves, in what's possible when no one expects you to rise. The final scene. It's midnight in Jacksonville. The streets are quiet now, long after the celebrations have faded. But at TIAA Bank Field, one light still glows from the quarterback room. Trevor Lawrence sits alone, watching game film again, not for perfection, but for gratitude. On his screen, the final field goal sails through the uprights one more time. He leans back, exhales, and whispers to himself, "We did it." Then, smiling faintly, he adds, "Now let's do it again." The camera would fade to black there, but the heartbeat of that moment, the rhythm of resilience, would echo forever, because some wins are bigger than the game. Some wins redefine who you are. And for the Jaguars, 31-28 wasn't just an upset. It was a night they remembered what it means to fight, to believe, and to roar. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and share. Till next time.